Guys, it's Regretful Turtle back with another video, and today we're going to learn how to make this tennis ball. So here we go. Now, what we're going to do is grab a circle, and we're going to go ahead and just make the tennis ball. We're going to put on a layer, and then just go ahead and make it the big main circle. Now what we're doing is adding an outline, the stroke of the circle, so we could just keep everything together, you know? The outline, it's important. So we're changing the color of the outline, and we're changing the thickness of it. I go with a 12-point stroke, just because I think it looks good for me. And now we're creating that little tennis ball white line that the tennis balls have. We're gonna go ahead and create that. And we started off with a circle, and then we just cut it in half. And then we're just manipulating the nodes to match how my reference looked. And it's important to look at references while you make stuff. And so this is what I was doing, just playing with it until I got to the perfect point of where I needed to be. So once I found, a good a way that I liked how it looked, I go ahead and just made it into like this grayish color, not completely white, because as you can see on a tennis ball, if you look at them closely, this outline is not completely white. I mean, probably it might be, but it's more of a grayish color, especially if it's been bouncing around. It's more of a grayish color. And so now that we go ahead and just keep manipulating these nodes and I'm just playing around, see how it looks and how I like it. And so I just keep on doing it, and I go ahead and just keep it this way. And now what I'm doing is adding a little bit of shadow underneath that little white strip of the tennis ball to give it more of a dynamic look. So we're going to go ahead and add a shadow. And the way I do my shadows is I just grab the color of the main of where the shadow is sitting on, and then I just make it into a dark tone, and then I just go ahead and lower the opacity, and that's how I make my shadows. And now we'll go ahead and make our highlights. We're going to do an oval, and then we're going to do a circle underneath it. And we're going to go ahead and make this little light blue color for the highlight, because this is the color of our light is going to be blue, so light blue. And now this time I'm going to make this light blue color for the shadows. This one is a different of how I do my shadows normally, but I was playing and experimenting with how this would look. And because I just like to play and experiment with all my illustrations, just to see what things I could do and what things work best and how things look. And so I went ahead and just made two different shadows, and I made this one is not as strong of a shadow because it's farther away from, it's closer to the light, so it's not as strong as the first shadow that I made. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. And now we're just gonna go ahead and just keep on playing around with the colors here, and we're gonna add a highlight gradient to the tennis ball to make it look more dynamic and to give it more of a 3D look. And what I like to do is just go ahead and just give it this white highlight, kind of the color of the main object, and just make it a little bit of that green tint, make it more white than green, but with that same green tint. And now I was just looking for a stroke, like an offset stroke for this parts, because I wanted to add a highlight to that white thing of the tennis ball, but I couldn't find the thing on Affinity, and so I'm gonna have to look around for that. But instead I went ahead and did a workaround, and I just made another duplicate copy of that stroke, and then I went ahead and just turned it black and made it bigger, and just kind of played around with it to kind of hide that little look. And as you can tell, it didn't work out the best, but it does work for now. And so I'm just playing around with it and making sure it looks good. And so that's how we do this is how we're doing this. And now I'm adding texture to my tennis ball. However, when I noticed that when I do export this, the texture doesn't come out with it. I'd have to figure out why that is. I haven't really looked too much into it quite yet. So yeah, and so now we're just going ahead and just playing around. We're just gonna add more details. We're adding more highlights here, and we're just I'm experimenting with a new way of highlighting and doing shadows. I like to do like this little watermark thing, kind of like a teardrop type of deal. And just I think it just makes his illustrations a little bit more alive, more dynamic. And here I am just adding another highlight to it. This ball, just a small little highlight, because it's not as close to the light. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. And we're pretty much nearing the end of the process here, and I'm just playing around with the strokes. Like I said, I like to play around with the stuff, just to see how far I can push it and how good I can make it look, and if I can make my illustration better than last time. and with different ways. I just like playing around, and it keeps me from getting bored. So there's that. And so I recommend you guys do the same thing. Just, if you guys are like looking for your style, this is how you find your style. You just play around with different type of works and different type of like what do you call them? You just play around with different like stuff. I guess that's how you do it. You just play around with stuff and have fun while you're doing it. Don't get bored of it. Don't get frustrated. I mean, it is frustrating sometimes, but hey, you just get past it and you just keep on doing it. So now we're gonna go ahead and export this tennis ball into Photoshop. I like to do Photoshop just for like this backgrounds and for the shadows, because I don't know, I just feel like it's easier to do it in Photoshop, and plus I like keeping my vectors without the shadows and stuff. That way I can easily turn them into stickers or something if I really need to, if I really want to. And so, or for like on demand sites, it just makes it easier without having the shadow in the actual vector file. So now we're gonna go ahead and just add, we're gonna do a gradient background. This is the color of the tennis ball I got, and then I just made 3 different sections, and I made a light, like a really light, almost white green, and then I go ahead and make a darker green color and just play with that. And we just keep on playing until we get that color right. I didn't like that, so I go ahead and change it, and I make the white more white, like more white on the whiter side, and then that's how I get this nice look of my backgrounds. And now we're adding the shadow, and we can go ahead and grab the color of the background and just make it a darker version. So that's everything. Thanks for watching. I hope you like this. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and have fun. Have a good one. Bye.